So this is Karma, Tommy, Gus, Bonnie, and Clyde's roadmap to success. And so I just want to go over some of the things we chatted about in today's session. And the first thing I want to refer you to is obviously the video above this one, which is our BAT training, or behavioral adjustment training. So let's talk about that in a little more detail. So you've got the video to show you how to go about that, but just as importantly is knowing the order. So if you have 15 or 20 minutes, still do the exercise, but even better, always try to end on a good note. And if you have the extra time and one of the dogs is being stressed out, stick with it until everyone is calm. Even better if you can end with them kind of falling asleep on the floor. Okay, so I want for a while for you to work calmly with each dog. So you have Karma and Clyde, and then Karma and Bonnie. Work with them, have all the other dogs away, not in the room, so it's nice and relaxed. Before you start bringing the three of them together, I want you to be comfortable enough that if you had to step out of the room and leave them in a room together alone, so Karma and Bonnie or Karma and Clyde, that you would feel completely trusting that they're completely comfortable with each other before you do Bonnie, Clyde, and Karma. And then get those three together before you start adding Gus, and then last we'll add in Teddy. Right? Tommy, sorry, Tommy. Hi Gus. So just to keep in mind the dynamic and the order of how things are going to go. Yes, I agree with trying to do some of the BAT training outside on a beautiful day. Go for it. It'll be even better when you have three of them, so that way they're all coming from different and equal distances, and it's not like Bonnie and Clyde are next to each other approaching Karma, because they might bring up some sibling rivalry and things like that. Other things to just mention are making sure that you're petting with a purpose. Ask the dogs to sit before you pet them, and don't let the dogs direct who's getting petted when. If you're petting Gus, don't let Tommy come over and push his way in, or Karma or any of the other dogs. If you're petting one dog and they keep butting in, just stand up and walk away, and then you can come back to sit and pet whoever comes to you first. You just want to make sure that you're the one who's in control of who's getting petted, so the dogs aren't actually competing with each other and having that rivalry with each other, because then they're the ones that think they have to kind of duke out who gets to get petted, and they think they're in control. So you want to make sure that you're in control of that. When you're done petting Gus, if you want to pet Tommy, call him over, or honestly, if you're petting Tommy and then Gus comes over, you still keep petting Tommy, so that way Gus doesn't push him around. It's all the same thing. We're just trying to keep things nice and equal. Other things to remember, we're going to work on putting up blinds between the dogs. So if you can put up at least a half wall between Karma and Bonnie's pens outside, as well as blocking their vision from the kitchen to outside. Because remember that if they can visually see each other, and there's a boundary between them, it can create, it can create some issues between them. For example, if Karma's inside with these two boys and Bonnie and Clyde are outside, if they're looking in, they can see that she's getting special treatment. She's with the owners, and it will create kind of animosity between the dogs, which will help make it harder to get them to all get along. So we want to make sure that we're kind of blocking some of those visual time periods, so that way we can help get them all on equal ground. They all feel like they're equal. Another thing that I want to mention is, yes, try to get Bonnie and Clyde out for more individual attention. They're siblings, they're litter mate siblings, so we don't want the only times that they are away from each other to be when they're working with Karma. Sometimes bring one of them to the store, bring one of them to go for a walk. Just get them used to being away from each other, so they are, one, better at being away from each other, and two, they're building up relationships with other dogs, and everything isn't mediated between their litter mate kind of relationship. And then just other things, paying attention to body language, and working on this nice and slow. I can't emphasize enough that taking this nice and slow to build that foundation is the most important part. And if it takes a couple of months to get them all together, then you still have years and years with all the dogs being able to get along, instead of trying to rush it and then end up having some kind of fight break out between them. So last, I just want to remind you that everything you do trains your dog, only sometimes you mean it.